Broadcasting from the Meredith Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
Broadcasting from the NXE.
I thought you were shooting from the hip because you just shot the one out of your ass. You thought that was horrible. Where did that come from? Holy shit.
Sitting down. It's weird.
You waited 2 hours to be picked up to do that? I mean, come on, girl. You got to bring it up.
Broadcasting from the MXC studios in Carson City, Nevada. Welcome to Covering the Field Sports Show. I'm Boots McCAge. In studio, we have Big Papa Richard Martin, Gator, the man Gates, and Joe, the adorable stallion Ellison. Fellas, let's start with the NFL and some sad news. 4 offensive plays for the Jets to start the 2023 season, and down goes Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, out for the season with a torn Achilles. Guys, what does this mean for the Jets going forward?
Well, if he tommed his Achilles, I don't know what that means, but I think he did tear his Achilles, and I don't know. I mean, wow. That's all you can say is big. Yeah. Wow. I mean, all the money, all the hype, all the hard knocks, all the fantasy owners, which I am one of them, and 4 plays, all that hype for 4 plays.
Yeah.
I mean, there was actually more Hard Knocks episodes than plays that he played for them. So, I mean,
or what Green Bay got rid of. What they got, or what the Jets gave Green Bay.
Yeah, but actually it worked out better because they didn't lose a first-round pick. They lost a second-round pick because he didn't play 65%. He played four plays.
Green Bay had a clause in there if he was the number 1 quarterback, or if you got they would get some incentives. So they lost out on that.
Yeah, but they didn't lose a first-round pick. It's a second-round pick. So it's actually that works. If there's any silver lining in New York Jets camp right now, you don't lose a first round pick.
That would be it.
But the bad news is Zach Wilson. He's your quarterback. Which is the first round pick.
So do you go out and get another one?
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later when we have our great segment on Ball or U-Haul segment. But right now, let's talk about Joe the Stallion Answer.
Well, the adorable stallion.
The adorable stallion.
Well, you know how Aaron Rodgers always says to relax, right? Now he gets to do a lot of relaxing by himself. He can just put his leg up and watch the ball games. He can enjoy the season, but from there. But the Jets, of course, they got serious problems. We talked about the Jets' makeshift offensive line, right?
Yes.
And they were just putting players in positions that maybe they weren't normally at, and it didn't take long for that to go wrong, horribly wrong. And I don't see Zach Wilson doing anything worth a darn. And I don't think they're going to go out and get another quarterback, at least not for a couple of weeks. Wilson's going to have to be terrible. And but then again, I picked the Jets to finish last in the division, so I'm not terribly surprised.
3 plays into the Monday night game, you look amazing.
But they still need a backup.
Or adorable.
They still need a backup.
Both. It's their O-line. And plus, Aaron Rodgers being so old, I didn't think – 39, he's, he's only won 1 Super Bowl anyway. How great is Aaron Rodgers anyway, really?
So the big rumor is, let's get an older quarterback. Let's get Tom Brady. Let's get an older quarterback. I mean, maybe Kurt Warner.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. I mean,
he's available.
He is definitely available.
Yeah.
But they have to do something.
Colt McCoy.
What about Joe Namath?
Well, that was the last Super Bowl quarterback. Yeah.
You have to get him off the bottle first.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be all right.
Okay, can I put this out to you, Joe the Answer, and Gator Gates? What do you guys think about maybe Kirk Cousins if Minnesota goes 0-2, which I see predicting that they will not beat Philadelphia Thursday night? 0-2, are they at the point where him not being on contract next year, is that something you might move?
That's so early. I don't know who the Vikings backup is. I can't even think of it right now. And
Bridgewater?
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
And Teddy Bridgewater was obviously one of the choices they thought maybe to do.
Yeah. I just don't see them giving up that early in the season. This is a team that won the division last year, and after 2 games, you're going to get rid of your starting quarterback. And it's like, we give up already? I don't see that.
Okay.
No.
Well, and again, they started off this year like they did last year, and the last year where one drive. They lose by 1 drive again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Nick Mullins is the quarterback.
I don't see that.
We have established, so they will be in deep trouble if they have him as a backup.
What was there more deep trouble than losing to Tampa Bay at home to Baker Mayfield? I mean,
well, there were a lot of bad performances, but I will say about the Jets, they did manage to win the game anyway.
They won the battle.
Yeah,
but the war doesn't look very good. All right, so
we can thank Josh Allen for that, right? 3 interceptions and a fumble.
So you're already on Overreaction Wednesday with Josh Allen, who's on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks of right now, the top 4 quarterbacks. I mean, everybody would have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, right? I mean,
well, me being a Dallas fan, what if Dak Prescott would have played like that? What do you think they would be saying?
Well, by the time you get on the field, it was already 21-0 by the time he took his first snap. But
yeah, I think he'd be assassinated either by a Dallas fan or the media or both.
But he did tear his Achilles, right? Was that the injury that he had?
Way back? Yeah. I thought he broke his leg, but
maybe it was a broken leg.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, I just kind of surprised by that. Allen does lead the league in turnovers since 2018. So This is nothing out of the ordinary for him, but usually they find a way to win anyway. And of course, that punt return in overtime clinched it, ended the game. It was pretty crazy. But I will say Dallas, Green Bay, San Francisco looked pretty dominant. Detroit, Tampa Bay, Vegas, and the Jets were the ones who pulled off the upsets. Cleveland and the Rams pulled off upsets and looked dominant in their games. Yes. Of course, it's a little early.
It's very early, but that's why it's Overreaction Wednesday.
Yeah, of course. Let's see here. Oh, Daniel Jones, what do you think about him playing till the end of that game against Dallas, losing 40-0, Mr. $40 million a year?
Yeah, but he wanted all $40 million of it. So you're playing every play, buddy. I don't care how bad the score is.
If he
$40 million, you got to play.
What if he gets hurt in the fourth quarter?
Then you probably have a better chance of winning because I never should have spent $40 million. So get what you can out of your Ford Pinto.
Yeah, fair enough. And what do you think would have happened if Travis Kelce or Chris Jones would have played in that Kansas City-Detroit game, or both?
I mean, we picked Detroit. I think we all picked Detroit.
I think Kansas City would have won that game.
I think
it was only a 1-point game.
If Tony would have lost one of those 2 balls that he dropped, one went pick 6, the other one would have definitely won the game for him. So
yeah, if he could catch some balls,
that
would have helped.
That would definitely help.
Yeah. So 3 things there that could have helped. But anyway, anything else you want to talk about these games we just had, or should we just move on?
Why don't we talk a little bit about the rookie quarterbacks? I mean, who was your favorite rookie quarterback?
Well, I would have went with the Alabama kid, the first one.
Really? I thought Richardson played a great game.
Well, I mean, before the season started.
Right, yes. I'm talking about week one quarterbacks.
Richardson probably had the best stats.
Yeah, he had the best stat.
And he has the best line.
Yeah.
It's easy to play quarterback when you're not getting hit.
They were actually winning that game 21-17 late. Looking like but as it turned out, all the first-year quarterbacks and first-year coaches, they all lost. Mm-hmm. The ones with their teams. So we'll
look to next week because the Colts are playing Houston. One of them's got to win.
Right.
Unless it's a tie.
So as far as spreads, we talked last year how the public likes to bet favorites and over. So leading underdogs and under if you want to win. Sure enough, 16 games, 10 underdogs covered the point spread, 8 won outright.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Underdogs.
10 of the road teams out of 16. And that is
10 underdogs.
Yes.
Yeah. In division games, underdogs went 5-3. Of course, you could have got New England +5. You could have pushed that. 12 games out of the 16 went under. And you could have got under on the Patriot game. That could have been 13 if you would have got it at the right time. 10 road teams won straight up. 12 covered the spread. So that's we kind of picked up where we left off last year, pretty much when it comes to spreads.
Right. So if you did the math, which we did, you would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Who did that?
I know.
If you-
I didn't do it either. I broke even. I was happy to break even on that one. Sorry.
It's all right. So maybe we should start talking about this week's games and maybe
Well, I just want to
predictions.
say that last week, week 1, it looked like week 4 of preseason. And it was any of those games that you took that looked like a preseason game. Now, I know a few of them had the weather problems. Dallas was one of them.
Cincinnati was playing in the rain on a grass field, and they
But isn't that kind of what you get? Games like that, what we just saw, when you don't put your starters in for at least the third of the game in the last game.
At least game 3 used to be that used to be your dress rehearsal. And
Exactly.
then,
you play your starters for a half,
yes.
and then you come out for the second half. You get through that routine, and then you sit them for the rest of the game. Well, a lot of teams didn't play any of their starters.
That was the Sean McVay theory about doing it. And
Right.
he looked great.
They look fine.
He looked
Well,
fine,
he
so-
can get away with it, I guess. But
Philly didn't play any of their starters, and they barely hung on to win that game. They obviously can play better than that.
They should. I think maybe you were right about New England. You were all over New
Yeah.
England.
Yeah, they
that
should
was
have covered
amazing.
that game.
yeah, that was amazing.
If you had the Patriots, you kind of got hosed in that one.
Yes.
At the end, they could have easily covered that spread at least. Belichick going for 4th and 3 when he can kick a field goal down 8 points with like 8 minutes left.
Right.
That was crazy. I'm just
Well, what about the Broncos on the first, the first play going up for an onside kick?
well, that was insane too.
That was insane.
Yeah. Well, it's like, hey,
When you least expect it.
yeah,
Yes, but-
let's ride.
That's how he is.
I know he is.
Okay.
He did that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
against
that's how he
Colts,
is.
So
So, do you think we should get to some picks now?
Sure.
All right, you got some point spread picks. Who wants to go first?
okay. Well, I went 4-4 last week. How did you do, Joe?
Oh, terrible.
Sorry, I asked.
I think
I thought you were adorable.
I look good when I lose.
Okay, well, you definitely look good, buddy.
All right.
All right, so
I think
what
I went
about
1 and 3? If I
1 and
remember.
3, how'd Gator do?
We didn't make it picks.
Oh, okay. You didn't make any.
No,
picks.
not on the show.
Yeah. Well, the first 2 weeks
Well,
is
you did great.
I'm going to do terrible. I already know that. It's week
You
3
did better
when
than
I
Joe
start.
already.
Okay. Week 3 when I start doing it.
No, we didn't make game picks on the show.
Okay. So go ahead,
Okay.
Rob.
Well, I'd like to start. I was 4-4 last week, so not too bad, not
No.
too good. It's very difficult. I should have. We did the 62%.
I would
Like
have.
we said, Jace, take the dogs, and you'd be fine. And we know that it's
Right.
hard to pick which dog. And like
But
we
if-
thought Houston was going to be a dog that was going to cover like they did most of the season,
Double digits.
double-digit loss to Baltimore. So,
But they
definitely
actually went off at 9.5, and they weren't actually a double-digit dog when they went off. But usually those cover week
Right.
1.
So I think the most obvious pick. Let's just now get it. You
Go
can
for
talk
it.
about your hate on Zach Wilson and how right you were about your Cowboys defense. They're only giving up 9. I like
Oh.
Dallas giving up 9. I think Zach Wilson looks like he's got his head cut off like a chicken running through the backyard. Doesn't really know what the hell's going on. You're playing against that Dallas. What?
Seven more country, why don't you?
All right. Well, I am a little country because he looked like a country idiot out there, but he did get the win. Give him that. But I mean, if you look at Zach Wilson, not somebody that I think we need to think that's the future for the Jets. And I think Dallas's defense against the other New York team was so dominant. I don't see that changing. I think, I think the Jets. What's the over under in that, Joe? On the Jets,
39.5.
I think
is what
that's
saw.
definitely going under.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless the Dallas scores 39 and a half.
Yeah.
But I like Dallas minus the 9. I like the under in that.
Defense can score.
Okay.
Both defenses are very good. Both
right.
defenses are good. The Jets defense is very good. And that's, I think, what we saw. It's not Josh Allen played bad. I'm going to give it the Jets defense play good.
I'm liking your Dallas pick. It's not going to be one of my picks because of the high spread. It is 9.5. 11-6 in their last 17 covering the spread. The Cowboys last year and the one game looking pretty good. Bizarre stat. They're 8-2 against the spread in week 2. I don't know why it happens that way, but Dallas always covers the second week of the season. I like it, but the under I think is a stronger play. And, unless there's like defense and
Mhm.
special team scores, like you say.
That's that X factor.
Yeah.
Right.
some other stats.
I think both corners are locked down. I think they're good, and Zach Wilson's gonna have a hell of a time dodging Micah Parsons. So,
I think so
good
too,
luck.
yeah.
So I think he's gonna have a very, very bad week unless they have a great game plan to block Micah Parsons, which the
right.
NFC New York team couldn't do. So I don't see the Jets for that, like you said, makeshift line.
Yeah.
I see Dallas dominates.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my pick.
Okay. Well, when Dallas plays the AFC East, it does go under 7 out of 8 the last time. So
Okay.
Dallas and under, I guess. And it's tough to do that, laying 9.5 points. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Okay. Next pick.
I like the Colts -1 at Houston. I think, like you said, Jefferson, but probably Richardson played the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks. I think their offensive line's good. Actually, they had a chance to win that game against the playoff team, Jaguars. Lead in the fourth quarter, like you said, 21-17. I like the Colts. It's only dropping a point. I mean, I think that Houston got beat up pretty good, and I see it saying the same. I like the Colts going to 1-1 after week 2.
Okay. I'm not playing that one. But go ahead. Gator, do you?
Yeah, sure.
You got a pick?
Well, I'm a sucker for home dogs. Home dogs.
Oh, boy. You're going to like my next 3 picks.
Well,
Go ahead.
I like Atlanta at even money to win over Green Bay.
So you're not loving love.
Green Bay's a slight favorite.
No, and Atlanta, I don't.
1.5.
I think they're an okay, mediocre team, but they're going to be at home, and I don't have no love for Green Bay.
You're saying that just Chicago's that bad.
Well,
that's it. But no, I'm not going to go
It's got
that
something
far.
thrown out by the producer right now. The producer just threw me something, but there's not a lot for the Bears right now, so
I'm not going to overreact.
You're not going to overreact.
No, not in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
I still think Fields is pretty good, and
I like your pick.
Well, now here's the one that kind of interests me because I don't know what kind of Kansas City Chiefs team we're going to have this week, Joe. Maybe you can incite me, but they got Jacksonville at a +135. That's pretty high to me. And I would think that the smart money of Kansas City doesn't have a Kelsey. I think smart money.
Well, Kelsey's still questionable. Is that where he's
Right. Jones is back. He signed.
So you're going to think that the smart money is going to be going on Jacksonville. So I would jump on that.
Yeah.
If you like them. That's a question mark. I do have a question mark on it.
Well, Jacksonville's been on quite the roll lately, except for that one playoff game that they lost. They'd won 7 in a row.
To Cincinnati, yes.
Yeah.
But I think they played very well in that game, truthfully. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Kansas City they lost to
Kansas City
in the playoffs.
Right.
History says Kansas City, they've beaten the Jags 7 straight times, but this is a new Jags team. And
would look very questionable against the Colts. So I think
I would say so.
I
Does Kansas City go down to 0-2 and Jacksonville 2-0? It doesn't really seem likely. You would think they'd both be 1-1 at the end of this game.
You're going to see the Magic Mahomes. Kelsey's going to play. Tony's going to catch the ball, and I think Kansas City covers that. I like Kansas City.
All right. Anything else there, Gator? You got another pick?
Okay, well, here's another good one. We want to stay on these home dogs. Is New England didn't look too bad to me, Joe. Their defense last week, and they're going to be playing Miami Dolphins, and everybody's reacting. There's my overreaction for Monday is the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dog at home, New England +115. Sure, why not a couple bucks?
Well, that is one of my picks. New England +2.5 at home against Miami. I will say Miami has covered the last 5 times they played New England.
Yes.
But I'm throwing that out.
And they've won 3 out of the last 4.
Yeah. Miami's defense wasn't there, obviously, against the Chargers. Maybe the Chargers are going to do that to a lot of teams. Maybe most teams.
Maybe.
But I like the way New England responded. They were down 16-0, came back, made it a heck of a game, close at the end, looked very confident on offense, not like last year. And they only lost by 5, could have easily won it. And I'm thinking New England's going to be 1-1.
I don't think the defense is terrible.
At the end of the week.
I don't think so.
And Miami will also be 1-1.
So we got the Dolphins -2.5. You guys like the dog. You like the dog and
home dogs. We're leaning towards that home dogs. Going back to what we were saying at the
I'm not
beginning of the
pick on that, but I'm all about Tua right now. I think he looks great.
He does.
I don't care.
He does.
You know, so
I
you
ain't
can put
saying
pressure
it.
on it, but you know, the coach is just amazing in Miami. I mean, he has that team throwing the short passes, making great plays. 200 yards last week, Tyreek Hill, and they don't even. You got Waddle, you got
I agree with
you got the backs are great. You got Nazar, you have Wilson. So I think you guys are cautious, but I'm thinking it's going to be a good game. Minus the 2.5. If they win, it will be by a field goal. So I'm going to stay away from it. But I like the Dolphins.
Can't really allow Miami to throw the ball up and down the field. New England's obviously got a better defense, much better than the Chargers, and New England's going to try to control it by running the ball.
Well, I mean, they stopped Jalen Hurts in one of the best offenses, I think, in the NFC for sure.
Good point.
So
why
can't
not?
they put it? I think it's going to be a good divisional game, and they always play the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins did beat them one time out of the last 4. They only won 17-16 by 1 point.
Yeah. So
I think the 2.5 is a good bet, but if I had a bet, I'd bet on the Dolphins. I think just by week 1, just the eye look of it.
Okay, well, this is not a pick. I guess it's more of a question for both of you, but with another one that's sticking out in my head, if New York plays the Giants, if the New York Giants play like they did against Dallas, I think Arizona could actually squeeze that out at a plus 175 because nobody's giving any love to them.
Yeah, the Giants on the road favored by 4.5.
Now, like again, I'm not
after that performance.
I'm not going to pick the game, but I'm just going. You know, that's 1 to
two major turnovers by the.
Five.
Okay, so would you say before you were having the Giants in the playoffs, right? I think you both had the Giants going to make it by a wild card, right?
Yeah.
By a wild
you both have, and you both have Washington not making the playoffs, correct?
No.
And the Washington Commanders coughed the ball up 2 times inside the red zone, which they would have covered that spread.
Correct.
If they would have held the ball on and didn't throw the interception by rookie Sam Howell. Not the rookie, but second-year players. Sam Howell, obviously, very very young quarterback for them and inexperienced. So if you go with that theory, you would say the Giants are the better team. They should cover the 4.5 because the Commanders should have covered last week if they didn't turn the ball over and played a little bit better. So, I mean, if you guys have the Giants making the playoffs, they're going to smash.
They should.
They should smash.
And that's where I'm going.
Right,
that's why I'm going against it because.
So you're saying you're overreacting that you're saying the Giants are not going to make playoffs after week 1 performance. After looking at that performance,
wow,
exactly. They look like they shouldn't be playing, Pop Warner.
But you're right. It's only 1 game. I got you. I get what you're saying there, and that's why I'm saying if they play like that, Arizona's going to squeak that out because I think Arizona looks horrible. They are one of the worst teams in my eyes.
And Dobbs is the 32nd quarterback on the fantasy rating right now. So,
but Arizona's going to win a game somewhere.
Well,
and this very well could be that game.
Okay. If you look at history, Arizona's 7-3 straight up and against the spread against the Giants. Of course, this Arizona team is pretty bad, but I guess if you want to pick something, they're 12-1 under against the NFC East is Arizona. Every time they play the NFC East, it's a low scoring game. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I like the Raiders +9 at Buffalo. I think they played great against a great defense. I mean, Denver has arguably one of the better defenses in the league. They've actually played well. Garoppolo played well. You're getting the Raiders +9 and
no respect after
Broncos. Yeah, exactly. So I think take that +9. I think maybe Josh Allen does bounce back and get a win, but I like the 9 points with the Raiders.
Yeah. A
lot of points.
Buffalo wins, but might not cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. And then we'll just finish this up. I'm going to say Philadelphia. It started at 7. It moves to 6. I like Philadelphia -6. Minnesota got beat at home. Now you're playing Jalen Hurst. Last year they smashed them in week 4 or 5. I think you see the same thing. Philadelphia.
That was their preseason game. Was the game they just played last week? Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they also in the rain against a good defense. So I think Minnesota doesn't have a good defense because Baker Mayfield looked great. So obviously they don't have a good defense. So I like the Philly -6.
Okay.
All right. Have we had enough of NFL?
We have not had enough. NFL is beautiful. We're
I'm trying
starting
to segue
baby.
into college football
Okay.
here.
I'll just quickly give my other two picks. I said New England and the under in Dallas. I'm taking Tennessee +3 at home against the Chargers. And I won't get into detail there because we don't have time. And I'm taking Pittsburgh +2.5 at home against Cleveland. So those are my four. And that means 3 home dogs and the under in the.
And no one gets hit in that Cleveland game with a helmet. Right? No one takes their helmet off and throws it and swings at anybody, right?
Yes. And remember, there are 2 Monday night football games, so that could be interesting. And I want to thank Butch the Butcher Roberts for all those trends and statistics he gave me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Adorable. Thank you very much, Big Papa. I just want to get us back on college football.
Well, there was one big game last week. We have to mention, I guess, Texas winning at Alabama 34-24.
Right. And the ratings were better for the Colorado-Nebraska game over the Texas.
Neon Dion.
Yeah, Neon Dion. So we talk about both those
Coach
games.
Prime.
Yes, Coach Prime he's coaching up in Boulder. But let's talk about that Alabama game because I'm telling you right now, they look like they were so fast. Texas was so fast on defense and just seemed like they might have the bigger blockers, but they couldn't catch them to block them. I mean, they were so much better. So I really like this kid Anthony Hill, number 0 for Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Probably he's right now saying he's going to be the top 15 pick. He might be higher than that because he was so dominant in that game, and I think just Texas looked amazing.
Surprisingly amazing.
And the quarterback over looked great. It looked like the stage wasn't too big for him, and it just looked like Milroy from Alabama. It seems like he was just ducking and chucking all day, just trying to get rid of the ball. It just looked like the game was too fast for him if it was not too fast for the Texas quarterback. So the SEC looks like they're in trouble. What I've seen, they had losses.
Yeah.
Texas A&M, they were 0-2 against the ACC. Texas A&M lost to Vandy, and I just
right. A&M lost to Miami, right?
Yes,
yeah,
and then Wake Forest beat Vanderbilt, so they were 0-2 against the ACC, which is not supposed to be.
Vandy,
I mean, they were on life support. They were on life support, thinking the ACC is going to fall apart before they got Stanford, Cal, and SMU. So. I think the ACC had a great standing against them. But the big thing is the dominance of the Pac-12. And that is not going to be the Pac-12 next year. It's going to be the Pac-2.
Yeah.
So everybody's gone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. If they're going to pick up Mountain West teams or they're just going to dissolve. Just maybe
that's what it is. It's going to be the new Mountain West teams. Is going to be,
But if those 2 teams just stay in the league and they're the only 2 teams, they get all the money from the league. So why would you leave?
So they're not a Power 5 team. I would say after this, they would definitely be out of the Power. It'd be a Power 4 team. Almost.
They would be team. Yes, they'd be in the subdivision.
Right. Power 3 team is going to. Well, I don't know. Big 12 had a great. The Big 12
non-Power 5.
Yeah, exactly. So the Pac-12 was 3-0 against non-Power 5 teams, and they were 2-1 against the Utah and Oregon both won, and the Colorado and Washington State won. So they did very good against the Colorado, beat Nebraska, which is a very good defensive team. If you watch that game, that score is a little bit misleading because I think their defense played good. I think they're just on the field too long, and their quarterback, we told you about his fumbles and interception problems, and he continued to. And
they were in Boulder.
They were in Boulder, and you had Stephen A. and flying in on a jet, come see him, so
it's getting ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's already out of control.
Well, they're going to come down to reality because they got Oregon and Southern Cal coming up. So,
just throwing in a couple other games from last week. I love it when lower division schools beat Division I schools. Fordham beat Buffalo. Southern Illinois beat Northern Illinois, and the terrible one I didn't like. Idaho beat Nevada 33-6 up here in northern Nevada.
Right.
Nevada, clearly one of the worst teams in the country.
Well, that was right. And then we're going to talk about our picks. So we'll talk about our picks on that because I definitely That's one of my last. I was 4-2 on my college picks, so a little bit more respectable than my NFL. But I just really see Kansas coming in, and they're only minus 28 right now.
I love that one.
Kansas dropped to 28 because this kid Jalen Daniels can play.
Oh yeah.
As if he's unless he has a turf injury up there, I don't see them. I mean, Idaho beat them by 30-6. I mean, I see
33-6. That's 27. And
right.
28. It's only 28.
And Kansas is twice the team as Idaho, so
without a doubt.
So Kansas is definitely.
That's one of my picks.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
I love it.
All right. Colorado dropping 23 CSU. I can't believe that because Washington State beat CSU 30-24. That's 50-24. So that makes it
at
20
State.
Right. And that's 26-point spread. Colorado at home against CSU. Just the basic math tells you the team is twice as. I mean, Washington State's good, but they're not Colorado good.
No.
So
Okay.
I like that one.
I will say I totally agree with that. Colorado was my only pick last week, and I nailed it. Great minds think alike. I hope, Rob, Rich, because we got Colorado and Kansas both.
So, I mean, we're
and
on
that's
a roll.
my only two picks.
You're adorable, kid. All right, I'm going to go now. Let's see what we're talking about this one. Minnesota +8 at North Carolina. Minnesota's 2-0. They played good. Carolina should have lost to Appalachian State, I thought.
Double overtime.
And I think Minnesota had a great game against a good defense at Nebraska. I like Minnesota. Give me 8 at North Carolina.
Money line's even at a 235 on that game. I kind of like that.
Well, there's going to be some upsets.
So you can double your money
Right.
if you just take a money line on it. Okay, so we're going to row with the Gophers. All right, so let's talk about that Texas and Wyoming game. So
Oh boy,
I know, but see, Wyoming played Texas Tech, which is respectable at Texas Tech, and they won 35-33.
that was an overtime game.
Overtime, yeah, I think it was double overtime.
Yeah.
So I like Wyoming +29. I mean, you're actually got to beat them by 5 touchdowns, just about. I mean, if they can play them tough.
This is the University of Texas.
This is the University of Texas that had a hard time with Rice. Had a hard time with Rice. Yeah, they had a hard time with Rice. They only won 30. I think it was by 20 points. And Rice to Wyoming, which is 2-0 and beating Texas Tech at Texas Tech in double overtime. I think the 29 points and just hope that you score 2 touchdowns.
I think that's great handicap. Excellent.
It's could be a letdown, huh, for Texas?
Yeah,
exactly.
Now you got to play Wyoming.
You're playing against the Crimson Tide, and all of a sudden you're playing against the Yellow Cowboys. I mean, I think it's a definitely a letdown week.
Gotta be. I'll agree with that. I'm not going to bet it, but I'll agree with your reasoning.
Okay, if you bet it, you'd be even more happy. All right, so
maybe I will.
So I'm going to take Florida +7 at home, like the Dogs. Florida +7 at the Swamp against Tennessee. Florida lost a tough game to Utah, and they actually outplayed them.
I cannot believe that they don't have any respect for them at 6.5.
I got it at 7 right now, so I don't know. It's probably 6.5 or 7. If you get a touchdown, Florida in the Swamp, that's going to be SEC hard fought game. I'll take the points.
I'll take them to win straight up. June 205.
You're loving those money liners, aren't you, there, Gator?
Exactly.
You see some value in them.
Home dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Home dogs hit constantly.
Well, they do.
Right.
So,
and then I'm going to take Florida State. I'm going to drop my last one. Florida State, I'm going to drop 26. Boston College played horrible. I mean, they barely beat Holy Cross or somebody they played.
Holy Cross.
Holy Cross, they almost lost. But Florida State looks like a dominant team. I think they come out of that just smoking Boston College.
I think Boston College did lose to Northern Illinois also.
Which you just
lost to Southern Illinois, which is a
Southern
Division
Illinois. And
team.
Holy Cross played a close game. So, I mean, that just has the
Florida State could name their score in that game.
Right.
They can be in by whatever they want. Sure.
As long as it's not like the whole thing, and that'll be I'll say my You Got Host. Or at halftime, we don't even play Caleb Williams because we're beating Stanford so damn bad. We're not even going to play her. I mean, we actually put Caleb Williams into the band. He was playing the trumpet or banging on the drums. He had a different helmet on. He had one of those Trojan band helmets on at halftime.
It was 49-3 at halftime. So,
49-3.
Yeah, that was a good time to rest him. Unless you're Daniel Jones, and then you play him the whole game.
Exactly.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Okay.
There's no band in New York.
All right.
Or if you're Aaron Rodgers and somebody toms your Achilles.
You Tom's your kid.
Yeah. If you Tom your Achilles, you're not going to do. You need to get in the band. But that's what I got from my picks this week. I really like these picks a lot, so we'll see what happens. You never know. It's week 2. It's week 3 in college, week 2 in pro.
Right. Just 2 for me.
Okay.
All right.
Is that it, everybody?
Yeah,
Are we ready to move on to the MLB?
Oh,
Yeah?
sure.
We can do
MLB.
that.
All right.
Well, we just had the team clinch their division, the Atlanta Braves. Dodgers very close to clinching their division,
Go Dodgers!
of course. We got Baltimore up over Tampa Bay. Nothing's really changed. You got this battle, Houston, Seattle, and Texas, which is turning out to be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Minnesota's just about clinched against Cleveland. Cleveland's like 8 games below 500 now. They've had it. And Milwaukee's up over the Cubs. And those 2 teams look like they should make it. You look at the wild card. Tampa Bay is almost in. Toronto is next. Then Seattle and Texas.
Texas just live bet. Mad Max is out for the.
Oh, boy, I was going to get to that.
Yep. So he's out.
NL wildcard, Philadelphia is in almost, then Chicago. Then you got this battle, Arizona, Miami, San Francisco, and Cincinnati,
That's awesome.
all duking it out. So
That's great.
it's going to be pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting. Last
There's about what,
15, 20 games of the season.
I think there's like 17 or something.
What a shame baseball doesn't end before football starts. So we could really enjoy this.
Right.
Interesting.
But, the playoffs.
What about NASCAR? They just say, hey, we're going to race on Sunday. Why are you going to race on the game that NASCAR? And we got NFL week 1. Was there a race in Kansas?
Why are they doing the tennis men's final on the first day?
Yeah, why can't they do that? Yeah.
Do that on Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the girls did.
Yeah, they always do.
Mhm.
So
You
that's
mean
just
women?
Okay.
Calling them girls.
Well, she's 19.
Okay, yeah.
Those boots,
You're-
man.
You can't pull the slot machine
Yeah.
candle. You're a girl. Okay.
Point taken.
All right. So, Gator, who's hot and cold? Who should we be betting on? Who are the hot teams?
Okay, well, Baltimore's the best at 8-2, and then you have Tampa Bay, which you're mentoring. But the Yankees are surprisingly 7-3, Tampa Bay 7-3, and Miami 7-3.
Now the Yankees are starting to play. Well, I think they're trying to finish above 500 and save some face.
Well,
in the season.
technically, mathematically, they're still available for that wild card.
Okay. And who are the teams we should be betting against?
Well, the worst one right now is Kansas City. They're 2-8.
They're almost always on this list.
But don't they have the good pitcher that
They have one really good Reagan's.
Reagan's, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think they took
Actually-
over Oakland. We've always thought Oakland was going to be on this list, and now it's Kansas
Okay.
City. But we have 5 teams that are 3-7. That's Colorado, Cleveland, White Sox, Seattle. So sad.
Shocking.
Yes, and Washington. But
So streaky. See, it's tough.
Yeah.
Don't tell me the A's actually don't have the worst record in baseball.
Oh, they have
6-4.
Oh.
Last 10.
Yeah.
Six-
I was going to say
Not just this week. Not this week.
Don't
they're not
worry,
the
they're
worst.
not
They're-
gonna
yeah.
because
them in Kansas City were kind of close, I thought. All right. They're
They
where
went
they
6-4.
belong.
They went 6-4 this week.
Okay,
too.
well, they're trying to get out of the cellar.
Yeah,
consistent though.
Well, they're
I
consistent.
don't know what to say about them.
But anyway, yes, the big news, obviously, Texas, their best pitcher, Max Scherzer, done for the regular season, possibly the playoffs. Doesn't look good for him. Looks like Shohei Ohtani for the Angels. He's been out, like 8 games now?
Right.
He's not playing anymore. And I think they've had it with him for this year, and they might actually get rid of Mike Trout. Oh, this is crazy.
Trout and a Tawny God, so the Angels will have nobody.
What were they thinking?
They're gonna have the worst.
Ohtani.
Yeah, they could have got a boatload of picks or prospects.
Yeah, they blew it there. So it's a little early to talk about playoffs. We don't even know exactly who's in. So some news and notes from Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon, our correspondent.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, just a little MVP candidate news. You could bet who's going to win the MVP. I don't know if you still can, but Ronald Acuna Jr., 36 home runs, 65 stolen bases. The only Brave ever with 195 hits. Truly amazing. Matt Olson, of course, my former Oakland Athletic. He tied a Braves record. He's got 51 home runs.
Yeah.
Leading the league. So what a shame the A's couldn't keep him. Of course, they don't keep anybody. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. He tied in an MLB record. 103 RBIs, runs batted in, that is, from the leadoff position, which is pretty hard to do.
Exactly.
12 leadoff home runs, tied for 5th all time with 48.
A little bit different. No, you don't have the pitchers in there anymore in the NL. So, I mean, it was a little bit, it's, you have Barnes, who's worse than a pitcher hitter. So, he catches. So,
pitcher always bats last, and the leadoff, that is going to change a lot of things. And the stolen base thing, too, right? Because you're slightly closer.
Slightly closer, and you only got 2 throws to first.
Mm-hmm. Seattle's Julio Rodriguez, first player ever to hit 25 homers, steal 25 bases in each of his first 2 years. Yeah. He's at 30-30. He's an MVP candidate. I don't know who's going to win the East. Maybe it's him. I mean, the American League.
Yeah.
Cy Young candidates. Milwaukee's got some solid freaking pitching, huh? Brandon Woodruff, he pitched a complete game shutout last week. That's not easy to do these days. You usually get taken out. Corbin Burns, he pitched 8 innings of no-hit ball. Relievers took the no-hitter to 10 and a third.
Why wouldn't you leave them in?
I don't know. And then the relievers, they blew the game in the 13th, and they ended up losing that game. So thanks again to Rockin, Ronnie McKinnon for that information.
Before we go to NASCAR, we're going to do our new segment, Ball or U-Haul. Big Papa Rich, start us off.
Okay, so it's Overreaction Wednesday. It's usually Overreaction Monday. But I'm going to ask you guys, everybody in studio here, these quarterbacks, they got a ball this year, or you got to give them a U-Haul and go to the draft, because we have arguably 5 to 6 first-round quarterbacks. We have USC Caleb Williams. We have Washington Michael Penix, 6'5" lefty who throws a bomb. You have Colorado Shadir Sanders. You got to say he looks great. You have North Carolina Drake May, and you have Duke Riley Leonard, and now Notre Dame's quarterback who was at Wake Forest last year, Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
All these guys could be somebody, could be your Brock Purdy, right? I mean, that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for your Brock Purdy. You can bust on any of those picks. We don't know what they're going to do in the NFL, but we do know there's some great talent coming out of NFL. So we have to, coming out of the NCAA, so we have to know these quarterbacks got a ball, or we got to give them a U-Haul, get out of town. So we're going to start with Sam Howell, Washington Commanders.
Oh, NFL.
Oh,
NFL.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
So is he going to ball? Is he going to ball, or are you going to get him a U-Haul and get one of these quarterbacks?
I'm going to go U-Haul eventually. Sam Howell, I don't see a whole lot coming out of him. I like the talent coming out of the ball listing.
What do you mean
more
eventually?
I think he's
But he's had 2 NFL starts.
He's just going to be a very average quarterback.
Right, so he's going to, but that's U-Haul.
Yeah.
He's saying you haul him out, go for a draft
Right,
pick.
if he doesn't get him anywhere this year, then I think he's gone.
So it's playoff or bust. So you're
Yes.
saying Washington doesn't make the playoffs. So we said
If he has a really
correct.
good season, sure.
Okay.
But I don't think the Commanders are going to have a
Correct.
really good
Right.
season.
I'm with you.
Okay, so the next one, we had last year, what was it, give him a clipboard or give him a paycheck? Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, are you going to ball or are you going to U-Haul? Because they only got 5 field goals last week in the Saints. Give him is he going to ball this year, or do we give him a U-Haul?
Tannehill gave away that game a little bit, but I'm going to credit the Saints defense for some of that. The Titans, they've already drafted Will Levis and was that Malik Willis, right?
Yeah, Will Levis.
They've already drafted quarterbacks. I think they're going to stick with what they got. Tannehill, I think, will not be the quarterback next year. And I think they're just going to stick with one of the 2 guys they just drafted.
You're not telling me if they have a chance to pick up Caleb Williams or Michael Penix, who is throwing like 900 yards in the first 2 games, a 6'5" lefty that throws bombs.
I think they should have U-Hauled him a couple of years ago.
We've given him clipboards and everything. We've done everything we can.
Yeah.
It's not hard
So I
to
don't
hand the
know
ball
what
off
to
to
say
Derrick
I don't
Henry,
know
though.
what to say.
Well, 62 yards. They held him, so the defense played good.
And the receiving, he had like 50 or 60 also. He had
And they
actually
also
pretty
gave
good-
up. Who was their number 1 receiver? Smith. They gave up. Who did they?
to
Philadelphia.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
But they did get DeAndre Hopkins, who's supposed to be decent this year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
We'll
AJ
see.
Brown, yeah.
Yeah,
AJ Brown, they gave their best receiver up, and
That was stupid.
they'll
Well,
make
they
it happen.
drafted the kid from Arkansas.
So you guys are both giving him a U-Haul. You guys are off Tannehill.
I
Pack your stuff up, give him a U-Haul, back the truck up, you're out of here.
We could trade him to the Jets.
That might be a good pick. That might be a good pick. That might be
Go with the kid.
Go with the kids and see what they got, because you can't do any worse than 5 field goals. All right, so Justin Fields. I know I'm getting – I just got another eraser thrown at me. Thank you for my – all right, Justin Fields, which he has a man crush on. I don't know why. But anyway, he is very, very accurate, they say, but he doesn't have any consistency. You can't beat Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers, who has put his stamp on your forehead for the last 10 years. Every time we play you, we beat you. We own the Bears. So he's finally out here. We got a chance to beat him. We all love the Bears. And Justin Fields laid a big goose egg. Are we going to ball with Justin Fields? Or are we going to give him a U-Haul?
I say ball.
I guess he's got.
Whoa, we have hope in Chicago after week 1. We are overreacting on Justin Fields.
Where would you have picked him in your fantasy football draft?
That's a great question.
I think he's still on the waiver wire.
High. No,
Justin Fields?
No, he was very popular because he can run the ball and he can throw it a little bit.
Which he didn't either last week. So,
well, DJ Moore, I don't think they even threw the ball to him once, and that was a mistake.
We told you Green Bay's defense was good.
And Daryl Mooney, Cole Kmet, they've got.
We told you Green Bay's defense was good. We told him Aaron Jones was going to be a stud, which he was. On your fantasy team, he had 2 passing touchdowns on the screen passes. Great coaching there in Green Bay for sure.
Well, if he ends up being terrible, then they will draft one of these other quarterbacks.
Okay.
Justin Fields.
But you're not going to get rid of Fields.
I don't think so.
I don't see it. You're not going to get rid of him.
So you're giving him a ball.
I just don't.
Is it an NFL ball or is it an NFL ball?
If he does terrible, they're not going to get rid of him.
I'm going to give him a tennis ball. Get out of town, Justin Fields. I'm tired. I'm done with him. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, good. But give him a hockey puck. Go play something you're good at.
Shuttle.
All right, so here we go. We're just going to go with our ride and die Bronco, Russell Wilson.
Oh, wow.
Big 16 points this week against the Raiders at home. And if you're not overreacting in Denver, you're not a Denver Bronco fan, because you lose to the Raiders. It's not just one game. You lose to the Raiders at home. I know there's at least
not right
50 kids that walked out with nacho cheese and stuff thrown on them from them. They don't like losing in Denver, especially to the Raiders. We're going to give Russell Wilson a ball or U-Haul, because he's just all he talks about is riding, and all he does is ride the team in the dirt.
Okay, but Big Richard, if we get rid of him, will you haul him? Who are we getting?
You're going to get one of these quarterbacks that's on that list that we just from the college. You're going to have to. And I think this is it for Russell Wilson. This is his last year in Denver if he doesn't do anything, because you got Sean Payton coaching, not the guy last year that doesn't know how to coach, right? Nathaniel Hackett. He's not going to put up with this.
We're going to see how good. We're going to give Nathaniel Hackett a ball or U-Haul, because he's got to get Zach Wilson to beat the Cowboys this week. He's got to.
Payton's already come out and said, "Stop kissing freaking babies and all this other stuff and start playing football." He's not happy with Russell Wilson right now.
Right.
So that's
60 points is a disappointment. We're backing the truck up on Russell Wilson. Okay, here's another one. Baker Mayfield. They got to win this week on the road. Big win.
Yeah.
All or you are. Are you going to Tampa Bay? Are you saying, hey, we had our Super Bowl run. Now we got Baker Mayfield, Heisman Trophy. You going to give him a ball or U-Haul? What are you going to do?
The journeyman. He'll be moving on in his U-Haul. I'm pretty sure.
It's hard to be on his bandwagon.
He's not going to last the whole season. He'll get hurt like he usually does, and they're not going to have a good season just because they won in Minnesota last.
I think
week.
the defense played great.
Yeah, but
That's the defense.
That's the defense.
Yeah.
Just don't throw the ball away, Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has a decent season, I think they stay with him. I really do. I'm going to give him a ball.
If they
I'm going to
win
give Baker a ball.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of those guys you either like him or you hate him.
Well, he's
There is no.
I'm sorry, Joe. You're so adorable. But anyway, I still stick with you guys.
I like Baker's energy, but I just don't think it can last a whole season.
Okay.
If they
Zach
win the
Wilson.
division, if they win the division, they will keep
They will
him.
keep him. And
his division is winnable.
It is. You got them or the Saints. That's the
Okay.
team. That's the two teams for sure.
Zach
Zach Wilson. Number 2 pick. What? 2000. Producer just said 2019 second round pick. 2020. 2020 21.
2021.
He's been so bad for so long. I can't remember how bad he is. But anyway, so
yeah, he'll be on the U-Haul before the season ends. I'm thinking because he's not going to play well at all, and they they're talking about getting another quarterback,
already.
and I think that's going to happen.
Unless he can ball out this week in Dallas and get us a win in Dallas. Did that happen? Then you would definitely tell the U-Haul truck to leave.
That's right. That ain't going to happen.
It ain't happening.
Mr.
There's
Adorable.
not Mr. Normal is not liking that at all.
Yeah, a heart attack. I can't have that.
And our last
That
one,
would
I
be
know
a
you
very
guys
low
already
score.
know where you guys are going on this. This is a homer pick, but anyway, Mac Jones
Oh, yeah.
for New England. You guys are saying ball or U-Haul?
I'm ball on this guy for sure.
Yeah, you talked about
2 years
last week he
ago.
played well.
2 years ago looked really good. Was candidate for rookie of the year. Last year he had defensive guys coordinating his offense. He looked terrible.
Billy Zappi was replaced him in
Yeah,
the game,
exactly.
just to say.
Then
That's how great he played last year.
Bill O'Brien, new offensive coordinator. They actually looked confident and good last week. I think he's going to have a really good season, and he's definitely a ball.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a ball too. I hate to say it like that. I'll give him a ball too. All right, that's it of the ball, U-Haul.
Well, that's great.
All right.
All right, nice.
So are y'all ready for NASCAR?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all ready?
Are y'all ready for some NASCAR?
I don't know. Did they play last week? Because you decided to have the race right in the middle. I guess Kansas City. It was in Kansas, right? Gator?
Yeah, correct.
So the Chiefs weren't playing, so I guess we'll have a NASCAR race. All right. So anyway,
We're supposed to pray before this segment like they do before every race.
We
right?
should.
Yes. Why not?
Why not?
Let's pray for a winner.
what we said.
There you go.
No, you were pretty right on.
Winner.
Gator, you were right on about the Toyotas last week.
Yeah. How did we do?
Tyler Reddick, he won at a 8.5. Joe, that was a great price.
Yeah,
And that was
actually
his second win.
Opened
too.
at 9-1, believe it or not,
Oh, there
on
you go.
Tuesday. Yeah, I got the early sheet.
Oh,
Nice odds.
yeah.
And Danny Hamlin, we said he raced really well last week without a loose wheel. He got hosed on, and he got second.
Yeah, and another Toyota got second. But I wanted to just to say real quick that there was 2 laps left, and he came in for new tires.
Who came in for new tires?
Reddick did. Because there was a few cars out there that wasn't, and Jones I think was one of them.
Jones did not take any
tires, and he ended up third, so he was right there. But when Tyler Reddick, he was sitting in 7th, Joe.
Yeah.
With 2 laps to go, and had to pass 6 cars to get the win. So that was pretty interesting.
Well, it was a great finish, that's for sure.
But they had that 4 wide racing there.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. It was the top forward was Logano.
right. We said that the Fords were going to do decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't.
They didn't.
Well, I
That
mean,
was the
Logano
problem.
did.
Yeah, he was the
Who's in? Who's out? We got to after this week. We're going to cut some people out of this.
Yeah,
right?
we only have 2 people in right now. But I'm glad you brought that up because I'm really liking on Truex. I think Truex has to win to get in.
He's on the bubble.
He's on the bubble, but I'd hate to say it, and he's not in the playoffs right now. But I like Chase Elliott at 10-1 because he's good at this track, and this is that track that you got to stay out of trouble.
Well, this is Bristol, and they're on the dirt.
No.
No.
The dirt race is early in the
Yeah.
season.
So
This
they took
is-
all the dirt out.
And
Yes,
Okay.
and this is Saturday night too.
Saturday night,
Sunday.
you're not gonna
Okay,
It's
you're
not-
not going to
miss
miss
this
it.
race.
Not going to miss it, and the Trojans aren't playing, so we have nothing to do but watch race car.
Yeah, you have the Coliseum.
Yeah, Bristol's always a good
It's excellent.
race.
Okay,
So
That-
it'll be awesome.
there'll be some wrecks.
Actually, the car,
lot of bumping.
The Cars movie was. He did that racetrack.
So,
after that. Before that.
Who's the one? Bell won the dirt track in
No, the
Bristol.
Toyota.
The Bristol earlier, right?
No, the Toyota.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
But
Toyotas are getting it.
so I do like. I am rooting for Truex. He is my favorite driver. I think that he can win it, but I also think Chase Elliott at 10-1 is worth a couple of bucks because he's good at this track.
I don't know why I root for Kyle Busch, but that's who I got my money on, I guess. I don't think he's going to win this race, but I think he can
We got
win
some
the
people on the
championship.
bubble. We got
Yeah.
some people on the bubble. It's
He
a
is
big
from
race.
Nevada, although it is Las Vegas. Maybe that's why I
Nevada.
root for him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's like
Makes
should be-
sense.
That's good.
All right.
All right, good deal.
Okay.
Well,
All right, is that it for NASCAR, guys?
yeah, I think so.
All right, well, tennis, anyone?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, we just
Yeah.
finished our final major of the year, the U.S. Open, right?
Right.
It became the Joko and Coco show, right?
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. Djokovic won his 22nd major. He had odds only 8-5
Wow.
was the highest. He was the favorite defeated surprise finalist Daniil Medvedev. He ruined the whole party.
Well, he didn't look very great. I mean,
No,
He
but
looked good in the game before that. You
Correct.
called him to win that.
That's correct.
Gator. And I remember watching that thing.
well,
but I was talking about that last
he beat Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, that was
So
excellent.
that wasn't supposed to happen.
Big Richard's right. That was excellent.
So he played great in that one and didn't play.
Yeah,
at all. Didn't
everybody,
even win a
everybody
set.
was expecting a little bit better.
But I predicted Djokovic before the tournament,
Yes,
so I
you
can
did.
pat myself on the back on that one.
But you won't pat yourself on the women's because they're not girls.
Right. It's on the women's side.
If they're 25 or over, they are women.
They're women. Well, she's not 25. She's 19.
A lot of
They
them
can rent a
lot of the
car. They're
women's are-
women.
So that's the American Coco Gauff. He won her first
Yeah.
major. Beat Arina
that's great,
Sabalenka.
yeah.
I was really surprised that Sabalenka looks so dominant. In the,
She's a beast.
Sabalenka's great.
But the crowd, Sabalenka won the first set, and then the crowd got totally behind Gauff
Yeah.
and just inspired her
they went
for the
Coco.
victory.
They
did.
went Coco
They
for
went
Coco.
Coco.
They went Coco
Coco
for Coco.
They went cuckoo for Coco.
Goff went off at odds as high as 14-1. Believe it or not, you could have got that in July.
She's ranked 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Sabalenka, her consolation prize, she's now ranked number 1 in the world.
Hey, that's great. Great consolation.
She did good. Semifinals. She
She
was
knows
out
she
of
is
it.
an
She's good.
excellent. Yeah.
And, to the dismay of my dad, the day after the tournament ended, Spectrum had all their ESPN channels back working again.
My God, isn't it?
And so thanks, Spectrum, for ruining the whole party there.
Just in time for hockey.
Yeah, that's good too. Quickly, we got to talk a little rugby to the dismay of some people that I know.
Hey, man, that was me. I was supposed to say that.
Oh, sure. What are we doing? Oh, we're doing an intro.
Yeah, we were going to talk about rugby.
Oh,
But no, you stole my thunder, right? Oh, you're not so adorable anymore, are you?
There's nothing adorable about rugby.
That's gold.
I didn't know our producer would even want an intro into rugby.
Stomp
I'm sorry.
Boots, why don't you?
Oh, shoot.
Stomping lover.
Well, how is it?
It's made for stomping.
So, Gator, I'm just going to ask you quickly. We don't have much time. But
Yeah, go ahead.
how is it? How is the World Cup progressing? Have we had any upsets or?
Well, France beating New Zealand, I think, is an upset, and maybe not the greatest of upsets, but France won 27-13 in the opening game.
Well, France is my pick to win the whole tournament, as you know, and they are hosting the
Yeah, so
tournament
why not?
in France. So I don't consider that an upset.
No.
Okay. And any games we should be looking forward to?
Well, how about some games to watch on TV?
That'd be great.
Well, CNBC, they're showing it on Saturday. You're going to have Wales and Portugal, so that should be interesting.
Wales should kick their butt.
This is Pacific time, 8:30 to 11 o'clock will be
Excellent.
that game. And then Sunday we have South Africa Springboks against Romania.
Oh, South Africa is going to dominate that one.
You would think, but that's on at 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock.
Oh, nice. Well, I definitely want to watch that. I did think I saw Australia against Fiji.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's where that's going to be televised, but that's going to be a really.
I'm
really
glad
good
you
game.
brought that up because that's probably the only game that I think that's worth betting on. Fiji's at a plus 250. Australia's at a minus 330.
Yeah.
Australia should win, but I don't see why you can put money on Fiji. They just got done beating England.
They got a real good shot.
Or not England. I'm sorry, Wales. They lost to Wales 32-26,
That's
so they
pretty close.
didn't win, but that was really close.
Probably covered.
And that is Wales' national sport, by the way.
Do we have a intro to our "You Got Hosed" segment?
All right, are we ready for the You Got Hosed segment?
Right
well,
on.
well put.
Way to go, Boots. We love you.
Since you got hosed on the last one, we'll let you get
Yeah,
hosed on this one.
Sorry about that.
She already got hosed.
Anyway, for our people who don't know, it's our segment where we talk about bets that appeared surely to be winners, but in the end, something went terribly wrong, and they ended up being losers.
You got hosed.
And do you have a "You Got Hosed" story there, Gator?
Yeah, sure. DraftKings said that they took most of their bets on the props on Drake London to have 51.5
The
receiving
Atlanta
yards.
wide receiver.
Correct. They were playing Carolina, so it looked like a very good bet. Problem here, Joe, is that he ended up with 0 yards and 0 receptions, and he was only targeted one time during that whole game. So I'm going to have to say, if you had them, you got hosed.
Yeah, Atlanta proved they are definitely a running team.
Yes.
And their best receiver.
And I don't think that's totally bad, though, Joe.
Oh,
I kind of like that,
I love running teams.
especially for them.
And Big Rich?
Well, if you had USC Stanford over 69.5, which you know that Caleb Williams is going to have 50, all you need is USC's defense to play horrible like they always do. Right. And what was the score at halftime?
49-3.
49-3. And Caleb Williams came out in a tank top and a Trojan helmet, not a football helmet, and said he's not playing anymore at 49-3. And they threw goose eggs, 2 freaking bagels up in the third quarter. And then at the end of the game, I thought we might have had a chance.
It got to 56.
It got to 50, so I was only just needed a touchdown, right? And they, right, who's the coach? Cooper Riley?
Oh, Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley, yep. Cooper Run, guys.
No, don't worry.
Right. Lincoln Riley, he goes in there and brings his backup quarterback. Stanford's not even calling timeouts. They're just saying, hey, the game's over, and he has his quarterback run a touchdown in, which got it to 56. So all I need is one touchdown by Stanford, and they're mad, right? They're mad. You just scored on us with the. And so what do? Oh, we're just going to run the ball. And they run the ball, and they fumble the ball, and it was a scoop and score, obvious, and the kid kicks it out of bounds at the end. So I had multiple chances to win that, and it went under because USC didn't play the second half, but also I got hosed twice because Caleb Williams didn't play the second half, and also because the kid on the scoop and score, he fumbled the ball about.
Well, when it got to 49-3, it was time for Stanford to go home and study. They had better things to do than USC players,
right?
Obviously. So,
anyway, I got hosed on that. That should have went way over. It's 52. It was 52 at halftime. I mean,
you could have hedged it and took the under at halftime. Sorry.
Joe, you're adorable.
Thank you. You could have middled.
You're welcome for that, ladies.
You could have middled that. You had a big middle on that. There were so many to choose from on these you got hosed, but you know, often during football season it's like that. But I got to go with Texas Tech. Red Raiders are down 31-30, less than a minute left. They're getting 6.5 points home against Oregon. They got the ball, and they surely can't fail to cover the spread, can they? Well, naturally. Tech quarterback throws it directly to an Oregon defender who intercepts it, starts running down the field. If the duck just falls down, the game's over. Instead, he scores a touchdown, gives Texas Tech one more opportunity to tie the game, down 38-30. It doesn't matter. Tech fails to score anyway, but if you had Texas Tech plus 6.5, you got hosed.
And if you're a duck, you got to tuck it and fall on the ball.
Like an egg or something.
Yes, exactly.
Sit on it.
What the duck were you thinking?
You got hosed.
All right, if that's it, then that's it for the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll be here next week. Good show, guys. I want to thank Gator, the man Gates, and Joe, the adorable stallion Ellison, and Big Rich Papa Bear Martin. Thank you, everybody, and let's not leave out our producer.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.